The first and most fundamental Stoic response to suffering is acceptance. Not passive resignation, but clear-eyed recognition of what is. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Pain becomes worse when we resist it. When we fight reality, argue with it, or wish it were different, we multiply our suffering. The Stoics teach us to pause in the face of adversity and say, "This is what has happened. What will I choose to do next?" Every day we're faced with situations we didn't plan for: a broken relationship, an unexpected loss, an illness, a failure. It's natural to grieve. It's human to hurt. But suffering grows when we deny what is. Acceptance doesn't mean we agree with what happened. It means we stop giving our energy to fighting what already is. Once we accept, we can act. We can shift from paralysis to purpose. This habit starts in small ways. When you're stuck in traffic and running late, instead of cursing the situation, breathe and say, "It is what it is." When someone speaks harshly, instead of stewing in anger, acknowledge your emotion, then respond thoughtfully. In moments of great pain, journaling your acceptance can be healing. "This hurts, but this is real. I will face it head on." Acceptance is power. It turns you from victim to responder. It anchors you in clarity. It opens the door to transformation. Pain generates energy. Grief, frustration, heartbreak, disappointment, they all produce a surge of emotional intensity. The Stoic approach is not to suppress these feelings, but to redirect them. Instead of being consumed by emotion, we are called to use it. Seneca wrote, "Difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body." He didn't mean we should avoid emotion. He meant we should allow it to push us forward. This habit requires awareness. When you feel anger bubbling up, instead of exploding or suppressing it, pause and ask, "Where can I channel this energy productively?" Let it move you to have the hard conversation, to set boundaries to protect what matters. When grief feels heavy, use it to reconnect to your values. Honor what was lost by how you live. Turn the ache into art, into service, into a deeper connection with others. When fear arises, let it sharpen your focus rather than paralyze your will. Fear shows us what we care about. Use it as a guide, not to avoid risk, but to prepare with wisdom. Emotions aren't enemies. They're signals. But without direction, they can wreck us. Stoicism trains us to harness them like a river guided by strong banks. That's where our power lies, not in numbing emotion, but in focusing it. Daily practice helps. Write down how you felt and what you did with that feeling. Over time, you'll see your emotions evolve from burdens into tools. You'll stop seeing pain as an anchor and start using it as a sail. Pain is real, but what it means, that's up to us. This is one of the most powerful Stoic habits, reinterpreting suffering through the lens of growth. Epictetus, born into slavery, taught that men are disturbed not by things, but by the views which they take of them. The event is one thing. The story we tell about it is another. Suffering becomes unbearable when we label it as pointless. But what if we reframed it? What if we asked, "What is this here to teach me? How is this shaping me? What strength is this revealing?" This isn't about pretending everything is okay. It's about seeing pain as information, a mirror revealing our inner world, a lesson in resilience, a call to evolve. For example, if you fail at something important, your mind may say, "I'm worthless." But the Stoic rewrites that. "This is painful, yes, but I'm learning where to improve. I'm discovering my limits and my potential. If someone betrays you, don't spiral into bitterness. Ask, what can I learn about trust, boundaries, and self-respect? Perspective is a daily discipline. Journal the questions that help you grow. Surround yourself with reminders that every storm reveals your roots. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself, everything that happens is either endurable or not. If it's endurable, then endure it. If not, stop complaining. In other words, if you're still standing, you're already stronger than the thing you fear. Redefining suffering gives you freedom. You no longer live at the mercy of events. You become the storyteller. And in your story, even pain has a purpose. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This single Stoic principle can change your entire relationship with hardship. Too often, we believe life is meant to be easy. We think progress should be smooth, that happiness means the absence of struggle. But the Stoics teach the opposite. Obstacles aren't interruptions to your path. They are the path. This means that whatever difficulty you face right now, whether emotional, financial, relational, or physical, it contains within it the seeds of your evolution. It's not something to be avoided, but something to be used. When you live by this mindset, you stop asking, why is this happening to me? And begin asking, how can I grow through this? Let's take an example. A business fails. The ordinary response is despair. But the Stoic asks, what did I learn? What skills did I develop? What can I improve? Suddenly, the failure becomes training. It becomes fuel. Or consider a personal betrayal. The default reaction is pain and mistrust. But if you step back and examine the lesson, the betrayal might teach you discernment, boundaries, or clarity about your values. This habit begins with noticing your first reaction to challenge, then interrupting it. When the obstacle appears, say the words, "The obstacle is the way." Say it until it becomes automatic. In practice, this changes how you show up. It makes you less reactive, more creative. You stop seeing yourself as a victim of fate and start acting like an agent of transformation. This habit doesn't eliminate pain, but it gives it meaning. It gives you direction. It gives you back your agency. The Stoics had a powerful practice, deliberately seeking out discomfort. Why? Because comfort breeds complacency, but discomfort builds resilience. Seneca would sleep on the floor or wear rough clothing to remind himself that luxury is not necessary. Epictetus, once a slave, emphasized detachment from material things as a form of strength. Marcus Aurelius rose before dawn, battling fatigue to fulfill his duty. The modern world is obsessed with ease, but the Stoics knew that if you want to be strong when the storm hits, you have to train in calm weather. Voluntary discomfort is that training. Try it. Fast once a week, not just for health, but to teach your body you can go without. Take cold showers, not to suffer, but to remind yourself that you're not fragile. Go without a luxury. Walk instead of driving. Choose the harder path once a day. Each small act builds mental toughness. It reminds you, I can endure more than I think. This habit also shifts your relationship with pain. Instead of fearing discomfort, you begin to welcome it, not masochistically but wisely. You see it as a tool, a proving ground, a preparation. And when real pain shows up, the kind you didn't choose, you've already been sharpening your will. You're not caught off guard. You're trained, grounded, ready. Strength isn't built when things are easy. It's built when you choose the challenge. 6. Anchor yourself in core values. When pain comes, it can disorient you. It can cloud your vision and cause you to lose touch with what matters. That's why Stoicism emphasizes living in alignment with your core values. Your values are your compass. They don't eliminate pain, but they guide you through it. If you value courage, then when fear comes, you act bravely anyway. If you value honesty, then even in chaos, you speak truth. If you value wisdom, then suffering becomes a classroom. The Stoics believed that virtue, the pursuit of excellence in character, was the only true good. Everything else, including pain, loss, and reputation, was secondary. Epictetus said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." That's the power of values. They make external judgments irrelevant. This habit begins with clarity. Write down your top 3 values. Define what they look like in action. Then, in moments of difficulty, return to them. Ask, what would courage do right now? What would patience look like in this moment? Values turn suffering into sacrifice, into something sacred. When you live by your principles in the face of pain, you become unshakable. You build a life of integrity, and even if the world falls apart around you, you'll still have something solid to stand on, your character. The final habit is the thread that ties all the others together. Daily reflection. The Stoics were relentless about self-examination. Marcus Aurelius journaled daily, asking himself where he had fallen short and where he had grown. This isn't about judgment, it's about awareness. Without reflection, pain remains chaotic. With reflection, it becomes structured, something you can learn from. Each evening, take a few minutes. Ask yourself, what challenged me today? How did I respond? What did I learn from the pain I experienced? What will I do differently tomorrow? Over time, this habit builds clarity. You start seeing patterns. You become more intentional. You begin to transform pain in real time, not just after it passes. Reflection turns experience into wisdom. It's the forge where suffering becomes strength. And perhaps most importantly, it connects you to yourself. In the noise of the world, that quiet moment of journaling becomes a return to your center. Pain is guaranteed, but transformation, that's earned. And it's earned one page, one moment, one honest reflection at a time. Pain will come. That much we know. But with the wisdom of the Stoics, we don't have to fear it. We don't have to run from it. We can meet it with courage, with clarity, with calm. These 7 habits, accepting reality, channeling emotion, reframing pain, using the obstacle, training in discomfort, anchoring in values and daily reflection, are not magic formulas. They are tools, practices, paths. They won't remove your suffering, but they will change you. And in the end, that's what matters most. Not what happens to us, but who we become because of it. Turn your pain into power. Let every scar remind you that you survived and that you grew, because the fire didn't burn you down. It forged you.